Good day, my friends! I hope everyone has been able to take some time out of their busy adventuring, crafting, or gathering schedules to enjoy this year's Moonfire Faire, a celebration made by adventurers for adventurers. So if ever there was a time to spend with your fellow explorers and relax in the sun, it would certainly be this time right here. But why does the Moonfire Faire exist in the first place, and what purpose does it ultimately serve? Well, just because we're enjoying the festival doesn't mean we don't have time for a lesson. So sit back, relax, and allow me to explain the how and why of this explosive exhibition. The Moonfire Faire was originally held at the tail end of the Sixth Astral Era and has technically existed for years. But it came from an unlikely place and was originally called something completely different. To better understand the how and why, we must understand that before the fall of Dalamud, the people living on the outer fringes of Kurthus were the first ones to notice a problem. An explosive problem. Monsters known as bombs, bombards, grenades, whatever you wish to call them, had begun to appear in greater and greater numbers, seemingly out of nowhere. But this problem wasn't limited to just Ishgard, as Ul'dah, Limsa-Lominsa, and Gridania all took notice of the problem. Understandably, the people were scared about losing all of their hard work and homes to these fire-based beings, and thus petitioned for aid. However, very few, if any, people wanted to take on an entity that could quite literally explode in your face. So instead, a new approach was created. A festival was formed to lure in adventurers of all shapes and sizes to help quell the bombard threat. This festival was called the FFXIV Faire, and all sorts of decorations using the monster's likeness were created to get people talking and draw adventurers in. This plan worked, as many adventurers would arrive to help. A detachment of the Adventurers Guild was dubbed the Cascadiers, and they would be the ones to ultimately help organize and lead these adventurers into countering the threat these monsters had become. The FFXIV Faire was a resounding success, as the chance of Eorzea being blown to smithereens was turned to ash, literally in this case. Although, it eventually came to light that the adventurers were ultimately tricked into dealing with this problem off the books, so they weren't exactly compensated, not entirely. This posed a problem, as the very next year, during the height of summer, these fiery fiends would multiply all over again. As such, the fair would be brought back, and in exchange for helping deal with the problem again, the adventurers would be more handsomely rewarded this time. This worked, as the threat of these mischievous maniacs was brought to heel all over again. However, as successful as these events were, nothing could fully prepare Eorzea for what was around the corner, the 7th Umbral Calamity. Bahamut's rampage would put an end to any kind of reason for revelry for a while, and in that time there was no FFXIV Faire or Moonfire Faire for that matter. But eventually, 5 years after the Calamity, the fair would be brought back. However, this time there were no monsters to deal with. Something about the Calamity culled whatever method the bombs were using to amass in greater numbers, so many adventurers were confused as to why the fair had returned. Turns out, it was a member of the Adventurers Guild who would reinstate the event and pay for its initial reconstruction out of his own pocket. This man was a Rogadin named Eorzea, and he wished to see the festival thrive once more, because during the initial attempts of the FFXIV Faire, he saw that even when dealing with the explosive monsters, the adventurers were having fun and taking the time to catch up with one another. They even began to meet new people and show off to one another as well, bolstering their camaraderie. This was the vision he wished to give back to the world, a reason for adventurers to come together and enjoy their time with one another once again. The life of an adventurer is filled with nothing but danger, and the 7th Umbral Calamity reminded all of Eorzea how precious life is. So why not bring back this event, and the adventurers as well? This choice turned out to be a resounding success, as adventurers all over Eorzea found a reason to come back together and enjoy some fun in the sun for a change. But instead of the original FFXIV Faire name, its other name, the Moonfire Faire, would be used as a reason for adventurers to revel once more. In fact, the Moonfire Faire had another effect on Eorzea that no one accounted for. It made the profession of being an adventurer that much more enticing. When people saw these grizzled fighters and powerful mages put down their weapons and toss around a beach ball for a change, it humanized them, reminding everyone that the life of an adventurer doesn't need to be all dangerous and deadly all the time. The fair had created a noticeable increase in the amount of people wishing to apply to join the Adventurers Guild, especially with how Eorzea needed help now more than ever, with the 7th calamity being 5 years old. Nowadays, the Moonfire Faire has the full support of the entire Adventurers Guild, and has been held every year since to keep that fire of fun alive for anyone who's willing to face the dangers of the world head on. And each year, the festival has brought something new. From polar bears to poses, the Moonfire Faire has never tried to disappoint. But by far the biggest attraction created by this seasonal holiday is none other than the Eorzea Nimble Warrior course. This obstacle course became an overnight favorite, as adventurers from all over would try time and again to climb to the very top of this wooden tower just to show off to their friends and make weaker men complain. It was such a hit that the course would not only be rebuilt almost every year since, but new additions would be made onto it every time to make it that much more impressive. And apparently, adventurers like to fish off the side of the course too. I don't know. But make no mistake, this year proved to be yet another great excuse for adventurers to come together and enjoy some time in the sun. I do hope you've taken some time this year to enjoy the festivities with me and many other of your fellow adventurers. As for me, I need to get back to climbing this tower, so I'll see you during my next lecture. Till then, stay safe, my friends.